Story 1. Henry and I, my best friend, decided to take on a more adventurous camping trip than usual. While we had gone on a few small trips before, we were still fairly new to it and mostly stuck to local campgrounds. But this time, we wanted something real, secluded, deep in the forest with a view. After some research, we found a site about 3 hours away. The campsite required a 4-hour hike through the woods and had only a couple of photos online, so we figured it wouldn't be too crowded. We arrived with plans to stay 3 days. The place was remote, with a small dirt lot at the end of a barely used road. No one else was around, and the trail seemed long forgotten. Still, we followed it, despite the overgrown areas and rough terrain. By mid-afternoon, we made it to the site, a grassy hilltop with a decent overlook of the forest, quiet, empty, and untouched for who knows how long. As Henry set up his tent, I wandered to the overlook. That's when I saw movement down in the trees. Through the thick foliage, I barely made out a group of 4 or 5 people walking. I tried pointing them out to Henry, but by the time he came over, they had vanished. Strange, but we went on with our day and later built a small fire. As night fell, we were just sitting by the flames talking when we began hearing voices. They were faint, multiple people talking back and forth, but too far away to understand. The creepy part was they never moved, just stayed in one spot, until they went completely silent. The next sound was footsteps, one pair coming toward us. Then a man stepped into the firelight, red baseball cap, wavy black hair, and a weirdly wide smile. "Either of you know where the trail is?" he asked. I pointed the direction we came from and asked if he was with the people we'd seen earlier. His smile dropped momentarily, then returned as he replied, "Didn't know anyone else was out here. I've just been hiking alone." It didn't sit right. The same direction, same timing, but no mention of the others. After he walked off down the trail, we sat discussing it for 30 minutes. Something felt wrong, like we were being watched. When Henry nervously suggested we leave, I agreed. As we packed, the uneasy feeling grew. Just as we put out the fire, we heard a crunch, footsteps right behind us. I grabbed my flashlight and switched it on. Standing just a few feet away was the same man from before, staring silently. Then he smiled again. I turned off the light in panic, and we bolted down the trail. But the scariest part? We could hear multiple footsteps chasing behind us, and some off to the sides. Eventually, the sounds faded. We made it back to our car and left unharmed. To this day, I still don't know who those people were or what they wanted. But we haven't gone camping since. Story 2. At 16, I've been working at a pizza place for about 6 months and finally saved enough to buy a cheap car. I was tired of depending on rides and wanted to start doing deliveries instead of staying in the shop. One regular weekday evening, I clocked in after school at 5 and worked until 10:30. Things were busy at first, but died down around 8. My next delivery came in at 9, just 2 medium pizzas. I grabbed them and headed out. The roads were mostly empty, just the occasional car. But 5 minutes into the drive, a vehicle pulled out from a side street and got right behind me. It stuck close. No big deal. I figured they'd pass eventually. But they never did. Even when I turned into the neighborhood, they followed. It was a bit suspicious, but I brushed it off. This street was lined with spaced-out houses, some near the road, others tucked down long driveways. Eventually, I spotted the right address and turned in. A few moments later, the car passed by without stopping. I sighed with relief and thought I was just being paranoid. I pulled up to the house, knocked on the door, and waited. No one answered for nearly a minute. The porch light was on, but inside it looked dark. After knocking again, a tired-looking woman in her 30s opened the door. She seemed annoyed and claimed she never ordered anything. I apologized and turned back toward my car, puzzled. Halfway back, I noticed a car parked right behind mine. Same one from earlier. Its headlights were off, but exhaust was coming out. It was running. There was no clear reason they'd be there. I got in, hoping they'd move. Instead, they stayed still, blocking the narrow driveway. After waiting, I pulled forward, trying to turn around. They didn't budge. We sat there, facing each other for half a minute. Then, their doors opened. 4 men got out, all in hoodies with hats covering their faces. One appeared to be hiding something in his pocket. Panic hit. I gunned the car to try and escape around them, but there wasn't enough room. The wheels slid off the driveway and I hit a tree. It wasn't a hard crash, but I wasn't taking chances. I jumped out and ran. One of them chased me briefly, but then turned back. I called 911 and waited in the woods. When police arrived, the men and both cars were gone. My vehicle was never found. They had used a fake address and ordered a pizza just to trap me. Whatever they were planning, I don't think it would have ended well.
Story 3.
This happened last winter. I can't remember the exact date, but I know snow was coming down heavy all week, and I barely left the house. I worked a hybrid job, sometimes from the office and sometimes from home. With the weather the way it was, I stayed in and worked from my bedroom desk all week. My place was small, just a single-story home with 2 bedrooms. That particular day was like the rest. I got up, made some coffee, and sat down to work until around 8 p.m. Outside, it snowed and the wind howled non-stop. After work, I made dinner, cleaned up, and stepped out to bring the trash bins to the curb. On the way back, I noticed something strange in the snow along the left side of the house. The snow was packed flat everywhere, except that one side. It looked like someone had been walking through it. I went over and quickly realized they were shoe prints. What really concerned me was how close they were to the house. I followed the trail. It ran right alongside the wall and stopped just outside the window to my bedroom, the same window my desk sat in front of. That chilled me. Who would be walking around in the snow and wind, coming right up to my window? Thankfully, I always kept the blinds closed, but someone could definitely peek through the cracks. I tried not to jump to conclusions and went back inside to warm up. There wasn't much I could do since no one was there anymore. Eventually, I went to bed around 11 p.m. I checked the window one last time. The tracks had been covered by fresh snow, and I felt a bit better. I triple-checked the lock on the window before getting into bed.
The next morning, I rushed straight to the window. Fresh tracks again. Right in the exact same spot. My heart dropped. I threw on my boots and ran outside. The prints mirrored yesterday's path, and once again piled up beneath my bedroom window. I scanned the snow-covered surroundings, but saw no one. I went back in and called the non-emergency police number to report it. I worked the whole day, nervously checking the window, but the tracks gradually vanished under fresh snowfall. By 8 p.m., the sun had set, and the storm picked up again. I peeked out the window. Everything looked untouched. A massive sense of relief washed over me. But just as I let go of the blinds, I noticed something. The latch wasn't locked anymore. I knew I had locked it. Triple-checked it even. My heart started racing. I slowly reached down, grabbed the handle, and tested the window. It opened without resistance. Whoever was outside must have unlocked it during the night. How did I not hear it? And had they gotten in? I stepped into the hallway, carefully checking every corner. Eventually, I grabbed my keys and ran out to my car. I called the police from the driveway. The snow was so thick I wasn't sure I could even drive off. About 10 minutes later, a cop arrived and went inside to check. Time dragged on until finally the officer walked out with a man in handcuffs. Both of them were covered in blood. The guy had been hiding in a hallway closet and ambushed the officer when he found him. He was around 45 and had this disturbing, evil look in his eyes. No one knows what he planned to do, but it's clear he was dangerous. If that cop hadn't shown up, I don't know how that night would have ended.